Good morning everyone, it's Yvonne here to do your What's Cracking reading. Firstly, as I always do, thank you for your support, your beautiful comments. Today is YouTube Day. If you are going to join me for YouTube Live for Super Chat today, I will only be on strictly for an hour. I don't mind if it goes a little bit over that time, but I have other appointments I need to attend to. So if you're going to join me, it will be at 12 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Time and I will finish at 1 o'clock. So I'm only on for an hour. I'm still available for personal readings. You can book via my channel, my website, www.theaussiegoddess.com. And apart from that, the world card jumping out on me here. Apart from that, I think that's all the updates I want to do for today. You must excuse me though, I'm still trying to unpack, still trying to put things away, finding space for things. Despite the fact I gave a lot of stuff away and sold a lot of things. I thought I'd downsized quite a lot, but apparently not. So I'm still sort of struggling to sort of settle in, but it's all good. And of course, try and keep the readings up. I didn't get the fire signs done yesterday. Things just got a little bit hectic. So I'm hoping to at least get them done today. Once I settle in, I'll go back to the old way of doing the readings and hopefully pick up where we left off. Feels like it's taken forever, but I know it hasn't really. It's just been a bit of a drudge with everything that's gone on. All right, we're going to use the Albino Rider-Waite Tarot today. We might as well just get straight into it because if I keep talking, I'm going to blurb on for too long. Okay, Five of Cups coming out. The Five of Cups is a funny card. I feel like sometimes it's one of those cards that's very mixed in its messages. We see someone here who obviously is very depressed and sad because they're in black, sort of facing towards a river, which sort of gives the impression that there is a lot of emotion here. There is red on the ground, which implies, you know, wine's been spilt, cups have been spilt, and there is sort of this energy of not being able to take your focus off what's happened rather than turning around and looking at what's possible. And I've been seeing this card a lot lately, and I feel like it probably is in the energies at the moment, and I don't feel that it's negative. I feel that we're being sort of really sort of encouraged to really focus on what's happening in the moment rather than living in the past. Now, I watched Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think it was a few weeks ago, talking about how most of us live in the past, regardless of how much energy we try to put in. It's one of the most difficult things about becoming more aligned with your truth is trying to live in the moment. Going back to the past to remember things, nostalgia, your memories and things is very healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. But I guess when you're living in the past or you feel stuck in the past or you're stuck to something in the past or you have regrets and remorse about the past, then what starts to happen is your life becomes aligned with that. And it really does become a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it can be very difficult to move on from. But in this card, there's a promise of something more in the future. There are two cups that sit behind this person that are unspilled. And the cups we guess, we can't see, are full because the wine on the other side's been spilt. So one would think the other cups have wine in them. So there's a real energy when you get this card coming through to say to you, you know, take your focus off the past. There is a lot to look forward to in the future. The past is gone. It's finished. You can't fix it. You can't mend it. You can't change it. All the time you're focused on it, you're stopping yourself from moving into better times. So as I said, this card's sort of twofold for me. It always feels a bit sad because you're looking back at the past, but it also feels to me like it's opening some sort of opportunity for you to move forward. So there is some heartbreak and pain from the past here. So when we see the Three of Swords, it's, you know, it's one of those cards. Yeah, that's good. It's one of those cards. I feel like we may be looking at the past here for you. All right, but it's one of those cards for me, you know, that doesn't have a lot of redeeming sort of aspects like the Five of Cups does. The Three of Swords implies that there's some sort of pain in the heart, and there's three swords here. So it can be something like lack of communication between two people. It can be interference from a third party. But there's definitely three elements here. And of course the clouds sit around it too, and there's rain. So it all together is a very sort of sad card. I feel like here, some of you may have already gone through this energy, because I do have the Ace of Pentacles here, but because I have this energy, I want to talk to those who are still sort of moving forward from something that's hurt you. There's always a promise here that things are going to get better in the future. That is, unless you're stuck here. And when you're stuck in the past, you will defend yourself by validating why you need to stay in the past. Like, oh, things will never get better for me. Things are going to be this way. That's being stuck in the past. So if you have that, like what we call a victim mentality, where you cannot see the other side of something, then what can happen is that can keep you trapped in the past. When I see the Ace of Pentacles, I think there is a promise of something really good beginning here. You've got a promise of something beautiful opening up for you. And the stars behind that. So how much better could that be? So there's definitely an energy here with the star of healing, but also having faith and trust that things are working the way they should. There's a real balance in the card. You know, there's sort of that temperance feel to it, you know, like the timing is coming. But with the stars and that, it could be, you know, that you've been waiting for a very long time for some sort of financial new start. Because it's possible with the star card here that you could be heading towards some sort of fame and fortune. Ultimately, it's sort of like the wish card, but what it really says is that this is already destined for you on your path. And like I always say, is it really a wish, or did you already see it coming? So sometimes, you know, we want things and we feel the desire for things, or we want to move forward with things. And this card is saying to you, you don't need to desire, think, or want. All you do is just live every day, one at a time, in the moment, not looking back at the past, not focusing on the future, but just learning to be where you are, knowing that better things are coming. And there's the Temperance card. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I think it's very beautiful sometimes how the cards sort of come out, how you experience the energies. The Temperance card does talk of the similar things to the Star card in some regards. There's definite feeling like with the water, the land, feeling really sort of in aligned with everything moving in the direction it needs to be. Temperance can talk about divine timing. It talks about balance, having everything in its right place where it needs to be. So I'm feeling here, yeah. So there is for some of you, you may have closed out some sort of karmic cycle here with these two cards. There's a feeling here that something has been finished and you're on the road to starting a new cycle, starting out again. There's a definite feeling with that Justice card that things have been done. I had the world jump out at me in the beginning, so I feel like somehow or another you've learned something on your path now that is going to make things change for you. I think for many of us, it's the realization that we have learned something and we can apply it to where we're going. So for example, you know, if along the way you've had something that's held you back, it's the recognition of what it is that's held you back helps you to move forward. I'm trying to think of an example here, but say for example you've started to understand your issues around not really having faith in yourself or having trust in where you're going. And for a long time you may have questioned that, you know, am I worthy? Am I good enough? You know, is this what I want? Or can I get this? Whatever. And for a long time you may have really fought for that. Like you may have tried really hard, but it didn't always seem to pan out the way you wanted it to. And then one day you realize that if you just let go and allow things to unravel, all of a sudden things start to manifest for you. And you see the little manifestations, you get the little signs. So from there onwards, instead of sort of fighting against the grain or fighting against things, and I was talking to somebody about this very thing yesterday, you start to accept that's the way things are. And when you start to accept things the way they are, you don't get so conflict. You don't feel so much conflict. So for example, if you're being bullied, there comes a point where you realize that fighting against the bully is actually not really going to work, because that's what the bully wants. But you think, and you've been told, that you have to stick up for yourself. And so you fight against it. And of course, that just really fuels the bully. They love it. They want to see you react. They want your emotions. They're emotional vampires. So they want to feel that emotion. So if you don't give the bully what they want, they will stop bullying. They will stop bullying. As long as you don't give in, as long as you have strong boundaries as well. So when someone bullies you, you don't jump to attention, you just don't react. So it doesn't mean you have to get pushed around. Absolutely not. Have good boundaries. But instead of fighting, yelling, and being passive aggressive, you just need to speak up for yourself and just accept that's the way that person is. And when you get to that point, your energy changes. And what happens when your energy changes is, that was my stomach. When your energy changes, the bullies can sense that and they leave you alone. Try it out. But I feel like a lot of people, including myself, are scared of conflict. So you think if you just go along with things all the time and you just accept that, you know, that you're going to do as you're told and nobody's going to say anything, then what starts to happen is you start to create the bullies around you, because they do feel that they can get away with that. But being assertive and just saying, I would feel much more comfortable if you asked me to do that instead of pushing me, or, you know, your sort of behavior, I can see your behavior, it doesn't ring well with me, it doesn't sit true, but it's your energy that's changing, not your words. It's that energy of, I know who I am and I am not going to be pushed around by you, but you don't have to scream and yell and push back. That's one example. And I feel like here, this is something maybe that you're stuck or have been stuck in the energy of. And when you get stuck in the energy, you repeat the pattern until you've learned the lesson. So you can keep moving, you can keep doing things differently, but the same situation keeps coming up because you have to learn the lesson. And I feel like some of you here have come out the other side of that. There's a completion of a cycle here. And I see that with the World card moving forward. All right, let's have a look. So now it's time for the future. So this is about planting seeds and understanding that things will eventually come to fruition, whether it's next week, next month, next year, they are moving. We don't always trust that though. So if we can't see results straight away, that's the human side of us, our ego. If we don't see results straight away, we become impatient, maybe sometimes aggressive. We want to fight for it, but sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just have to wait. It's like trying to get a flower to flower before its time is up ready, or trying to get something to sprout from the ground before it's ready. There is patience here required. And I feel like that's really strong in that Star and Temperance card, that whatever here is growing for you requires you to be patient and just understand that it is coming. Okay, there we are. Anxiety, pressure, that's the sort of energy that maybe some of you are in at the moment. And learning to be patient is probably, and especially for me, this is one of my biggest bugbears, trying to be patient with things. And I see other people and I think, my goodness me, I've come such a long way. I was the one who would sit in the car sort of seething when somebody would sit in front of me, just not making a decision on what direction they wanted to go in. And I'd be like, I'm in a hurry, I need to go, move out my way, what are you doing? And there was a lot more expletives in that than I'm really alluding to. But anyway, I feel like sometimes for many of us, the patience side of things, the tolerance side of things, the waiting can be really difficult because we want things right now. And that's the nation that we've become. It is very human. It's about the ego. But I feel like for some of you here, maybe you're starting to understand that things take time. And the more you push, the longer they seem to take. Oh, there we go, ego. All right, so we have the Devil card coming through. So you may have had somebody role model behaviours to you that maybe you've started to realise that those behaviours don't really serve you anymore. When I see the Devil card, I really see that sort of side of impatience, stress, aggravation, all of those things that the ego feeds on coming through here, the fear. And I feel like here you're unchaining yourself. I feel really quite honestly that this card should be in reverse. It's sort of that energy of letting go. allowing rather than trying to control and push and try to get results when they're not actually ready or they're not cooked yet, as I always say. All right, and here we go. All right, so we've moved from the 7 here to the 9, which is absolutely beautiful. So the 9 of Pentacles says you're stepping into this sort of energy of self, this sort of more composed, more whole version of who you're meant to be. There is some energy here, though, that it's taken a lot of balance. It has taken a lot of time for you to get to this. But I feel that it's been worthwhile. You're knowing now where you are. Like you're standing there feeling very well balanced and you know that you're in the right place. And it's a beautiful feeling when you sort of feel really like everything's going in your direction. I feel really good about my life, you know, work's good, family's good, everything's great. And it's a really nice feeling, especially, you know, sort of anticipating the next move, feeling that sort of, I don't know, that apprehension, that sort of feeling like something good's coming. I really like the energy of this reading. All right, so we have the 3 of Cups coming through. So we're talking of celebrations here. There is some sort of energy of reaching a point and celebrating with others. I just wonder where this reading is going because I have the 8 of Swords coming through with the 8 of Pentacles. I feel like here we're talking about a lot of areas of your life. So you may be a person that's struggled in more than one area here. Some of this energy of the past here has created who you are today. And there are lots of things that we have created about ourselves that are worth celebrating. Even if some of the things that we have about ourselves we've recognized and we feel we need to change or we need to adapt, for the most part we are who we are because of what we've been through. And that is amazing because ultimately, even if you feel that you need to change certain aspects of yourself, like for example, the living in the past energy, then that is only one small aspect of who you are. Now, if I'm sort of speaking to people here who've had fears about things, I feel like you're going to start seeing through the fear and using sort of that energy and turning it around. I'll give you a good example of this. I remember years ago saying to somebody that I felt really overwhelmed and scared when I went on the Big Dippers and things like that. Wasn't really the heights, but I was a little bit scared of heights at that point in time, but it wasn't so much that. It's the fear of being out of control. So when you're in that situation and you're on one of those things, it's like flying in a plane, it's like, you know, being in a car when someone else is driving, that energy of wanting to be the backseat driver, of controlling something. And a lot of the time, our anxiety is fueled by the fact that we're not in control of things. So we're not in control of our futures. That's evident. You know, anything can happen in the future, no matter how well you plan things out. I mean, and we're seeing that in the world at the moment with everything that's going on, that you can't control what comes. And that creates anxiety because we want to know the answers. We move into a new relationship. We want to know if the relationship is good. We move into, you know, is that person going to marry us? Are they going to do the right thing by us? Will they do what people have done before? So you do all of that. And you start to worry that things aren't going to work out the way they should. When you start a new job, everything looks all cushy and beautiful. You have no idea what's going to come in the future. Sometimes that can create anxiety, like, will I get through my probation? What happens if I don't get through my probation? You know, will I get the sack? What will happen from there? And that creates anxiety. What I started to realize, though, is if you look at people who aren't fearful of anything. So the conversation with me came because I was talking to somebody about the Big Dippers and how they scared me. Those flights, those type of rides scared me. And the other person said to me, oh my goodness, I'd love to be like you. I would love to feel that feeling of fear and anxiety. Nothing scares me. And I was like, wow. So that feeling that I get in the pit of my stomach that makes me feel anxious and nervous, for you, it drives who you are. You're an adrenaline junkie. And it all clicked into place. So some people want that fear. They want to feel the fear. They want to experience things at the level you do. But for you somehow interpret those feelings that you're feeling as being horrible or scary or bad. So I feel here it's really important to say to you that if you have fears about the future, just sort of have a look why you have, dig deep with it, go deep. Why do you have fears about the future? What is it about the future that scares you? If it's the future of a relationship, you know, why is it that you can't just allow the relationship to unfold as it should, or the job to unfold, or whatever else in your future to unfold as it should? Why are we fearful about all the bad things and not the good things? So if you have a look at when you get nervous about something, all of the bad things come up for you, not the good stuff. So what happens if I step out and, you know, one day get hit by a bus? Well, what happens if one day you win the lottery and you have $1 million in your bank account? Why do we not go to the things that are positive and happy rather than the negative things? That's all anxiety. And I feel like here you're changing something. You're starting to realize here that you can make the future what you want it to be. Now, I know that there was a philosopher here who talked about, might have been Einstein, talked about the future only being, and somebody will come chime in on me here because I know some of you guys do that and it's really good, thank you. But there was somebody who said, we see the world through our own eyes. We don't see the world as it is. We all have our own take on what there is out there. Could have been Carl Jung. But anyway, I'm not going to sit there and deliberate that. But what I'm saying is there is a change here. There is a snap change. And there's a celebration here of understanding. Look at this, there's the change. And there's the energy of releasing, letting go of the fight, no longer fighting really for what you want. Understanding that whatever comes, you'll accept. So if you're waiting on that particular job and it doesn't work out, then maybe you weren't meant to get that job. Maybe the next best thing is coming here. But there is great change here. Great change. There's the death of the old and the rebirth of the new. I'll pull one at random for this. And lots of choice. So ultimately, the confusion is going here and you are starting to understand how to do this differently and let go of your anxiety. So I feel like for many of you, this is past energy, past pain, past heartbreak. Maybe you are focused more on that here, but you're starting to understand how to focus more on the opportunities and what's coming your way and the changes you're making. So the Ace of Pentacles tells me there's a brand new journey opening up towards your destiny. Life is very much in balance and it's aligning here, look, with your future. So you're definitely getting yourself ready for something. For some of you, you may be getting ready for the next best step, next job, next relationship, but whatever it is, you're closing out that past energy and moving towards something brand new here. All right, let's have a look and see what the Oracle says. That was a long reading today. I must have been meant to do that long reading. Maybe I just need to chat after all the hard work I've been doing. I can see I'm flushed again today too. Okay, the Courageous Peony. Now that's a beautiful card to get in this particular reading. So it talks about multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. So I'm going to read a little bit of that one. Flowers don't open and close, and I was talking about flowers blooming before too. Flowers don't open and close according to who walks by. They embrace all of what they are and show it to the world around them. The peony doesn't try to compete with the cherry blossom, and the cherry blossom doesn't try to compete with the tulip. They own what they are and trust the timing of their true nature. You are being called to do the same. It's time to open yourself up to being seen. Time to share your incredible multifaceted true nature with the world around you. To uncover and reveal your soul's greatest gifts without wavering. To own your uniqueness without apology. There's a flower on this planet that holds the same qualities that your soul is readying itself to express. Let it inform you. You may have been taught that it's safer to keep your light hidden and your voice small, to hide behind the bushes instead of growing tall. The Courageous Peony is here to remind you that it's safe to embody all of who you truly are. It's safe to share your voice and let yourself be seen. At first, it may feel uncomfortable and you may be afraid of what others think, but with each passing day, it does become easier. Little by little, you realize that it draws in those that are meant for you and experiences you've been longing for to arrive at your feet. So that's a beautiful card to get for this reading. That just absolutely just cements what's going on here. These changes are going to bring in beautiful things for you. You're going to have a lot of opportunities and you're going to feel more comfortable rather than anxious. I'll leave you with that. Thank you.